And thanks so much for joining us for Virginia This Morning. I'm Cheryl Miller. You know, a common vision of retirement is having all the free time in the world to do whatever you want. But if you want to work past retirement age, or in some cases have to work in retirement, Richmond CPA Phil Umansky says you need to have a game plan. And he's here today to share some tips and ideas. Hi, Phil. Good to see you.
Hi, Cheryl. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. The idea of retirement has changed in the last maybe decade or two because this generation is going to live a lot longer and our money has to last a lot longer.
Absolutely. You know, think of a traditional retirement age of maybe 62 or 65, but there's really a good chance that if you retire at that age, you may have another 30 or 35 years to live. And it's not unusual for people now to live 95, even to 100 years of age. So you really have to plan ahead in terms of your money management for that number of years.
That's great thinking about living to maybe 95 to 100, but the big issue about that is a lot of people who live that long have health issues. So we have to plan ahead in retirement to take care of that, and that can be a huge expense.
Well, absolutely, and it's really unpredictable in terms of the health care cost. They have been going in the year 2000 to 2010 greater than the rate of inflation. So that's sort of an unpredictable factor. So you never know when there might be some emergency medical procedure that you may have. And also maybe the insurance may not cover it. So you may have some short-term gaps there where you need some income. So part-time work might be a great option in those cases.
And the gaps come too if you retire very early and you're not quite eligible for Medicare, so you still have to pay for health insurance yourself. So that can be a major expense.
That can be a major expense. Now, we know with Obamacare that there are some tax credits for low-income individuals to help afford that health care. But you're right, once you get to Medicare, then there's some subsidization that goes on with the federal government in terms of health insurance.
And should we be thinking about in retirement, looking toward retirement, long-term care insurance? Is that a good idea?
I think long-term care insurance is an excellent idea. There's really no government program that covers long-term care, so the insurance is necessary. And actually, it's good to get the long-term care insurance while you're young because then the annual premium is not as much as until you wait till an older age to do that.
Now, young is a relative term. How young are we talking about, Phil?
My wife and I actually got long-term care insurance when we were in our 40s. So we're not having to pay too much. And of course, that can include, even if you're not old, some type of expensive procedure where you may be homebound, or you have to be in a nursing home due to maybe a traffic accident, for example.
Yeah, so like any type of insurance, when you're in your 50s and 60s, it gets to be exorbitantly expensive.
It does, absolutely, absolutely.
So planning ahead on that. You mentioned inflation and keeping up with the cost of inflation. A lot of people put money aside for retirement thinking that when they retire, their tax rate will be lower, but that's not necessarily the case because tax rates keep going up.
Well, you know, with taxes, it's always unpredictable. It depends upon the administration that may be in power. So you never know about the tax rates, and also states can change their tax rates, and so can local governments such as cities and counties. So there's a lot of unexpected expenses. And so I think that when a person retires, let's say maybe at age 62 or 65, they should really dispel from their mind that I'm never going to work again, because there are so many uncertainties. And working again can also be psychologically healthy as well.
Yeah, because a lot of people identify themselves by the work that they do and going to work every day, and that's their socialization as well. And when you give that up, life can kind of get a little bit lonely.
Absolutely. You know, people think retirement's going to be one thing where you have a lot of activity, but a lot of times the activity's not there because your coworkers are not there. So now the type of work that you could do, for example, most people that retire have really excellent skills. You know, they got knowledge that can be used even on a part-time basis. So some of the occupations I mentioned was maybe teaching part-time at a local college or university. That would be a great position for a journalist.
Yeah, share your skills.
Share your skills. If you like the arts, you could stay, or you could work, for example, at a museum. If you're sports-minded, you could work at a golf course. So there's a lot of part-time activities. And actually, I think these employers see senior citizens or people that are retirement age as very reliable employees, and they also provide flexibility to the business or organization as well.
So this is the perfect time perhaps to take that hobby that you have and turn it into a usable skill.
Absolutely. Writing is another great activity. I've got a brother-in-law that had extensive experience in negotiating. He's retired. He's been retired about 4 years, and now he's writing a book on negotiating skills, and he's getting it published too and making some money at it.
So this is the time to write that book you've always wanted to write.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Well, what about the implications of working while you're retiring? It's because I know to a certain point, you lose some of that money. It balances against it, one-on-one, I think.
Yeah, with the Social Security, you know, you can retire at age 62 and get a lesser percentage of Social Security, but you can earn $15,720, that's for this current year, without it affecting your Social Security. But if you're 62 and you work and you get income greater than $15,720, then your Social Security benefits are going to be reduced. So what happens is for every $2 that you earn, the Social Security benefits are going to be reduced by $1. Now, once you get to full retirement age, it's unlimited. You can earn any amount of money you want, and it won't affect your Social Security.
So again, we've got some gap years here depending on what your official retirement age is. So it's 62 to either 65, 66, 67, whatever your retirement age is.
And that's another factor is we know that, and we've had on previous shows, that Social Security is really going to be insolvent in the long term. I think we said about 2033. So just because you're getting Social Security now and you may be getting a $1,200 check, don't think that that could continue forever. They could cut benefits. So that's another big unknown. Or the projected benefits that you think you're going to have in 5 or 6 years. So, you know, Social Security's got to remain solvent. You either increase somebody's taxes or you reduce the benefits.
So we talk about part-time job after retirement. Maybe this is the time to think about a part-time job when you're still active and viable and you're working a job, and maybe something to put aside for retirement by working part-time.
Well, you know, a lot of people do have 2 jobs, and so that's great. You know, the great thing about, I would say, living longer is the fact that you could hopefully be healthy longer. And so work is really something that's going to stimulate you and be something that's important in your life. It does not necessarily have to be the same type of job that you had during your traditional career years, which could be a high-pressure job, management, a lot of stress and pressure. Try to find a job that you enjoy and can earn a little bit of extra money to help defray some of these uncertainties that you have.
Time to start thinking now about that type of job that you might want.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, Phil Umansky, thanks so much for being here with us today. We'll see you again soon.
Glad to be here.
You're very welcome. If you want to know more about retirement and working part-time, just go to WTVR.com/VTM. By early this afternoon, we'll have a link for you for more information.